So let's talk a little bit about how I want you to hold your pencil, and the idea that when it comes to your grip on your pencil and your pressure on your pencil, less is more. I remember when I was very young in second grade, gripping my pencil so tightly while I was writing in school that I would actually come home and about an hour later there would still be a dent in my finger because I was pressing so hard. So not only was it painful for my hand, it was also problematic for how I was writing and drawing. And there are a couple reasons why it's going to be a little bit more difficult when you're drawing to be pressing harder. The first reason is that it's harder to erase. So anytime you make a mistake, you've got this really dark line that then you have to clean up. And you've all seen when youngsters are drawing that they press so hard that they can't erase the line. The other thing is that as an adult, as you're shading more complex things, you're also denting the page when you're pressing that hard. So you'll see on my video that's about pencil hardnesses that your page actually creates a little trough, a little dent, and then when you go to shade over it, you have this white line. So I'm going to show you a couple of things about what happens as we're kids growing up with our motor skill development, and then I'm going to give you a couple of tips that anybody, any child over the age of 5 can start working on this, and then adults can as well, in order to change the way that you're pressing on your paper with your pencil. So when you think about your early motor skills and how our brains develop, think about little kids, maybe a 2 or 3-year-old when they first pick up a crayon or a marker to draw. Typically how they're going to hold their marker or their crayon is going to be in their fist. So their fingers aren't actually able to hold in any kind of a pencil position that we would hold in school. They're going to be just moving around their arm like this, which is considered gross motor skills. It's using the bigger muscles of your shoulder. And they can't do anything with their fine motor skills. And then as they age, usually around 3, 4, 5, you're going to see some differences between boys and girls. Kids are going to be able to start to hold a fat object like a crayon or a fat marker in their hand with a pencil grip. And then later when they're a little bit older, they're going to be able to more easily hold a skinny object like a pencil in their hand like this. The difference is that you're not going to see a 5-year-old be able to move their fingers very well because, again, those are more fine motor skills that are a little bit more difficult to do. And so as their brains develop and age, they're going to be able to do those things a little bit more easily. The challenge is that when kids are 6, 7, and 8, usually what's happening is that they've kind of established a pressure that they've used on the page in order to try to get their pencil to go where they want it to go. So it's not that they aren't, smart enough to be able to do this. It's just literally those areas of their brain hasn't developed yet so that they can really guide the pencil to go where they wish it to go when they're doing things like writing letters and numbers. So you're going to see little kids who press so hard that they break the pencil tip like I just did. When they're writing their numbers, I mean, here I just broke the entire pencil. I don't even have another pencil sharpened. They're going to press so hard that they break the pencil, that they might go through the page. You've probably seen that before. You'll also see that they press so hard that the page kind of bubbles up because they're compressing the page out. So all of those things are really common when we're younger. The challenge is that as we're drawing as adults, oftentimes we pick up where we left off. And most adults, I would say, probably stop drawing around the age of 8 or 9 unless they had an extraordinary art program at their school or had encouragement from other sources like parents or grandparents. So here are a couple of different exercises that you can do as a child or as an adult to try to work on your pencil grip and your pencil pressure so that things become a little bit easier for you when you're drawing. The first thing is that I want you to just draw a line with your regular pressure, and you can notice how dark that is. Here I'm using a B pencil. Earlier I was using a 2B, but that's the one that I broke. So that's my regular pressure. The next thing I want to do is draw a line and think of it like I'm using half the pressure that I used. And then I'm going to use half the pressure again. And you're going to see not only does the line lighten up, but it gets thinner as well. And here it's almost a little bit spotty because I can barely even see the line. So again, do your regular pressure line, half as much pressure, half as much pressure, half as much pressure, until you get to a really light line. You can also try dragging your arm across the page. So rather than using your fingers and your wrist, you can see that I got a much lighter line there. You might not even be able to see it with the video camera here. The next thing that you can do is that you can loosen your grip. So most of us are used to pressing quite hard on our pencil. I want you to think of it like your pencil can move around and wiggle around in your hand. So I'm going to put my pencil in my hand and tighten just enough for me to not lose the pencil when I slant my hand down like this. So just enough, but I'm not going to press very hard. And then my pressure gets a little bit lighter on the page too. The last way you can think about it in order to change your grip or your pressure on your pencil is that you can think of it like you're guiding the pencil along the page, but you're not actually pressing down with your wrist or from the weight of your arm. So that's another way to think of it. Sometimes the way that I phrase it with students is imagine it's just like the lightness of a butterfly wing brushing against your cheek. It's just barely there. And then you're going to find that you can get some lighter lines. So I hope this helps you out and saves your hand from a lot of pain and saves you from erasing and starting over when you can't erase. And it's something that I think is really important to practice, especially the younger you are. Remember that when it comes to your grip and your pressure, less is more. Thank you all so much for watching. More videos are coming soon, so if you wish to subscribe to my channel, go ahead and do that. And also you can check out my website, lzmstudio.com.